Hey, how's it going, everybody? Scott Spreitzer here, DocSports.com, talking some college basketball for Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. That free play coming up in just a moment. This video being cut before Monday night's games kickoff and tip-off for me, NBA and NFL. But we did go 10-6 all sports this past weekend. We'll take 10-6 anytime. However, I lost on Sunday in the NFL. We are 1-2 in this NFL package, and then we'll update what we do on Tuesday night. We'll update the Monday night game and the records there. As far as everything, check out my homepage daily. We have been kicking tail in the NBA, college basketball especially, the NHL, 64% since October 21st in the NBA, and we picked up $4,100, a little bit more than that for $100 per unit bettors. College basketball, 14-4 run, the last 18, 66% on the season. The NHL, we've been red hot, had an 0-2 Saturday in the NHL, which was highly unusual for us, but we look to bounce back on Tuesday's card. I do have a system play going on Tuesday, so you can check that out also. But check every day of the week, and also don't forget that the college football bowls begin in just a few days, and my first batch of bowl games will be available this Thursday. We went 8-1, 89% last year in the bowls. We'll look to have a big winning year again in the college football bowl game, so check that out. We'll talk a little bit more about the bowls on Thursday's video, but let's get to Tuesday's free play. It's Arizona State at Creighton. I'm going to recommend the Sun Devils in this one. This line opened up at a book that has low limits at 6.5. It quickly went to 7.5, and we think the 7.5 is worth grabbing for our free play. Listen, Creighton is going to be extremely strong over the next couple of years, keeping this freshman class in Omaha if they don't turn pro, and I'm talking guys like Nimhard. They got one or two that could. This last offseason, these freshmen that are playing for Creighton, they ranked between 5th and 10th in the nation, number 1 in the Big East, depending on what ranking service you use. So it was their best class in the history of the school. McDermott's really outdone himself in Omaha. But having said that, there are ups and downs with this team. We've seen them barely escape against a couple of teams you would expect the Blue Jays to handle. They barely escaped Kennesaw State. They just got by Southern Illinois by a bucket. SIU Edwardsville actually led Creighton in Omaha by double digits early second half before the Blue Jays were able to come back and win by 5. And then they played well in a 6-point loss to Iowa State. They kicked the crap out of BYU in the first half up in South Dakota. And by the way, it'll say neutral court. That's not a neutral court. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Blue Jay territory, no doubt about it. So when they play up there, it's a small crowd and a small gym, but they get the support, and they played extremely well, especially Hawkins. Guy goes off in the first half, finishes with 25. He looked like he was on his way to 45 if you watched him in the first half. But again, they do have ups and downs because they're young. They're learning to play together. There's some chemistry that has to be developed still. They could be a really tough out come March. Now, when you think about Creighton, you think about three-point shooting, going back to Dougie Buckets, right? It's not that same team that we've seen under his dad, Greg McDermott, over the last several years, because they're not a team that shoots a bunch of threes. And also, they don't make a bunch of threes. About 31.5%. What they do well is shoot the two, and they've hit about 58% of those on the season. One of the things that Arizona State does well in a season that has had their share of ups and downs is defend the two-point shot. About 45% is all they allow inside the three-point line. So I think they'll have some defensive capability against this Blue Jays team when Creighton's shooting the basketball. And also, after some ugly losses early in the season, they've won the last two. They won at Oregon. They just got done beating Grand Canyon when they returned home. And in those two true road games so far this season, they only lost to San Diego State by a bucket. No issues there. And then, of course, as I just mentioned, they won up in Eugene against the Oregon Ducks. I think they're going to give Creighton a little bit of a run for their money here. We're going to recommend a play on Arizona State plus the points over the Creighton Blue Jays. Also, be sure to check out my NHL video for Tuesday. We got some thoughts on one of the games in Tuesday's NHL. Again, check it out all week long, every day of the week. Basketball, NBA, college basketball, NHL, all the daily sports. Plus, again, don't forget the College Bowls will be available. The first batch of the College Bowls will be available this Thursday. Scott Spreitzer, DocSports.com. Let's put him in the win column.